Yeah, so I think the idea here as well is that last year, while Zeri was kind of meta, what you would see is kind of the adaptation of the point-and-click lockdown to kind of, you know, deal with the Zeri, and Vi was one of the picks that kind of came to fruition off the back of that. So maybe just anticipating that top esports are going to be a little bit, how should we say, stubborn perhaps in that regard, and they will. They'll leave it, I beg your pardon, lock in the Zeri in the first rotation in place of the Annie and pick up the Wukong alongside it. So very happy to still have the pairing. And TT now you expect, I was going to say probably still the Aphelios at the very least, toying with the idea of maybe something along the lines of Lissandra. Of course, hovers are hovers. Sometimes you don't read into them, sometimes you do, right? And I feel like for Ucal, that strength of his has been through the AD carries, but when you have the Vi, you do want a little bit of extra lockdown on top of it as kind of like that anti-mobility counter. So we'll see whether or not that Lissandra comes to fruition later on in the draft. But for now, the Aphelios makes a whole bunch of sense, and with no AP jungle this time, the Elite's not being picked up. That's why I mentioned the fact that something like Lissandra could definitely come through here against top esports.
Absolutely, it could be something they could look to try and just keep themselves safe, good engage as well, good point and click CC, and with the Vi, as you mentioned, having that as well, it could be a very potent combination in that mid lane. But would like to see maybe, I was going to say a solo lane, and the Kennen gets locked as well, has been banned if all the games so far. And they're going to put down to Hoya, and I like this as well. We saw what Hoya could do when he was on a carry in game number 1. Definitely didn't look bad in game number 2, but didn't have the same kind of oomph that we expect from that.
Yeah, my question is, what will QingTian actually answer this with? Because my expectation is that we'll see top lane pick now. Seems like he wants to just go towards the Ksante. Now, remember, this is buffed Kennen. This is 13.5 Kennen. Q damage increased, Q also reduced cooldown as well by 1 second, I think, at every single level, which is absurd considering that is his main, you know, damage dealing ability inside of the lane, as well as just extra wave clear. So we'll see how he gets on, but QingTian opting into the Ksante this time around. It's got a 0% win rate in this series, so we'll see whether or not that's a bad omen or not, as the ban's coming through. Talia removed the weight, pretty expected when you're going up against a Vi and Ucal. Very, very capable of playing that champion. I guess the next expectation would be someone like the Ari, right? Probably come through as that next best pairing. You want to try and take away, and you look towards, I would imagine, a good pairing for Mark. Give Rookie that counter pick in the mid lane. Try to set up for that 2v2 success, because we saw what it yielded in the previous game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely warranted, as you say, comparatively to that last game. But JackeyLove going to be having his 3rd game onto the Zeri. Maybe a 3rd game with a different support, as the Ari does get banned away, like you aforementioned. And now, TT, do you look to try and maybe ban out another support? You won't have the first pick, so wouldn't mind seeing the Nautilus banned away, to be perfectly honest.
That's what I'm thinking here as well. I think right now top esports' engage tools are kind of limited, right? Honestly, even maybe something disengagey could be okay too, because you've got the Kennen. Dealing with disengage from the support role could be kind of frustrating, but typically we don't see it very often. That's a really nice mixture of the both, actually. I like this call out from TT, saying Renata can play as that enchanter, of course, with the W and with the heal and shield on the E, but also just the fact that, you know, the ultimate can be this massive choke point disengage is huge, whereas whilst you can provide peel as the Nautilus, it's a little more one-dimensional, shall we say, whilst also, of course, naturally just being a very aggressive pick. It seems like that's what they wanted to guide TT into. And I wonder if it's just the Brawl here for ThunderTalk. It would kind of just make sense. 2v2 right now, top esports dive forward quite a bit between the Ksante, the Wukong. It seems like TT, Ucal, he's going to go towards the Akali, so he's picking the skill matchup here into Rookie. We'll see what he will decide to go towards on the opposite end at that R5 pick. But this is very interesting from TT, because now this kind of says to me, and this guides the theme for ThunderTalk, that they just want to go forward. They want to engage. They don't care that top esports in their own right have a lot of strong divers and even a quite strong back movement between the Wukong and the Zeri. They just want to send it with the Vi, with the Leona, and now with the Akali too. So that's the theme for ThunderTalk, I imagine. Loads of super aggressive play in the early stages. Is he going to give us... No, he's probably not going to. I mean, Akali has a weak lane, but I feel like dealing with Vi is a little bit too much. Toying with the ace. So, I mean... If
you follow Munchables Twitter, you know that Rookie's been spamming this.
Is he going to do it? Is it now? Is it now? It's now! Yes! Okay. All right.
Bring me through it. Go, Jamada. Lead me the way through.
So, Asol is absurdly powerful in the late stages, but what it does mean is he is counted out in the early stages instead. He does have a very, very abusable and weak early game. I think when he's into a pick like Akali, the thing is, Akali can't really necessarily punish it super hard 1v1 until the level 6 mark, and that's usually when Akali, you know, gains access to lethal in most matchups anyway. So Rookie's just throwing this pick down and saying, all right, I'm going to scale into a team fighting monster. All of you want to dive into me.
Do not win this game. But for now, we'll wait and see how the early game goes as we jump onto the red for the third and final time here in Shanghai. Before we jump into our second series later on, I do believe that's in Suzhou. It's LNG versus AL. We'll try and do a little bit of a catch-up on that later. But for now, we got to see how these two mid-table monsters end up kind of fighting it out. Because again, this could be the difference between top esports getting up to 9 wins, dragging them down into that big myriad of different teams who are looking to try and make that top 4 run.
Yeah, exactly. Separation here for top esports is what they're looking for, and for TT, trying to keep up with that mix-up. Stay as far away from the bottom side of the seeds as possible. And I mean, I feel like Rookie, in what is a very, very important game for top esports, right? At the end of the day, pulling out the ASOL here, saying, I'm comfortable with it. I feel like this is the spot. I think it tells me the mindset here for top esports, as everyone knows how special this game realistically is. Long T-Tor, and that's a cool skin as well, I'll say.
It is a very cool skin. I believe it's the chroma for the Scorch Turret one, I believe, is it? Or the Thunder Dragon?
I'm sure. I think it's the
lie.
Thunder Dragon.
I don't play Aurelion Sol because back before his rework, it was kind of terrible. Not a very fun champion, all in all said. But let's see. Actually, we didn't get to talk about it because the Aurelion Sol was kind of locked in there. But yeah, taking out the Leona this time around. I did like the Alistar in the last draft. I think it could have done a lot of stuff, but he clearly just had a lack of comfortability on the champion. Definitely felt like he wasn't really as in tune with the abilities and how to kind of, you know, get those crazy combinations as we've maybe seen in the past from some Alistar mains. So let's see if he can do a little bit better here with the Leona, and still does a relatively similar thing. Find champion, jump on champion, kill champion.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that just seems to be the theme for ThunderTalk as a whole here with this draft. They just want to go in. Beichuan just barely dodging counter vision there as he walks past. The ward also fizzles, so nice enough timing after the fact. But like you say, in. That should just be what TT are doing. And for top esports, you know, definitely kept it relatively neutral, their draft, right? I feel like Zeri, Wukong, you know, both pretty good at advancing forward when the space makes sense for it, and Wukong very capable of you know, playing back. Cyclone is a massive disruptor for backline divers. I feel like people forget T-Charma was the last person to play
the king himself. How could we forget the T-Charma? 968 days, the 20th of July, 2020. It was nearly 3 years ago. My God, time flies.
It is. It really is. It's a very different version of ASOL as well, mind you. So excited. And I feel like for TT, the big question is, how do you shut it down, the laning phase? Because it's just kind of, problem is you're Akali, so it's just very, very difficult, right? Akali doesn't often have much to offer you in the early stages, outside of flat damage, and even then, the lane opponent really has to be overstepping their bounds. You can kind of see, at the very least, TT were considering a little bit of movement through the mid lane, but Tian and just meeting Yao Yao on the way up means that they will Beichuan pick up the Scar on the top side, and it doesn't seem like there'll be any kind of collapse as that wave is also moving towards Rookie.
We're already seeing now the newly buffed Kennen, which again, like you mentioned earlier today when we were having a bit of a chat about the new changes on 13.5, is that we're already seeing Kennen quite a lot. And I think the reason why we were probably seeing Kennen quite a lot is that some teams tend to kind of not skip patches, or maybe just kind of like pretend they're on a patch that they're not, because sometimes the LPL gets to a point where we haven't really changed in a while, and things take a while for any, you know, kind of any really meaningful change to come out of it. So teams tend to just kind of prioritize things like, look, we're going to pick this anyway if it's on the next patch, so we might as well just get used to it, even if it is slightly nerfed on this one. So we have been seeing a lot of teams kind of prioritizing the Kennen, and already today we've seen it 100% presence on 13.5. All the bans and picks have picked up this champion, and now QingTian, ooh, that's against a cold start as well. This is Hoya just kind of owning this lane.
Yep. I mean, Kennen's damage numbers right now are just jacked up. They are really high. Like you say, it's just the early lane into Ksante here. We'll see how well QingTian can manage, because it is going to be a very constant theme that he will likely be pushed back in the next couple of minutes past this laning phase goes on. 6 here being crested by the mid laners. And my question for you, Oisin, is how big is the call going to be when Aurelion Sol drops that massive meteor out of the sky?
I mean,
and it breaks everything.
Do you remember when you first listened to Bangarang by Skrillex? And that kind of a drop hit. That's what I'm thinking. That's the kind of level I'm looking towards, of just kind of like, maybe not in the early game. It's not that big in the early game. I'm thinking more like late game team fight, you know, 4-man stun into 5-man ultimate, just boom, you know, something like that. No, keep it fresh though. You can't do it all the time. So might see Aurelion Sol a lot more.
Exactly, and also just for a little bit of reference, I believe Aurelion Sol was played in the LDL today as well.
I think he was playing LCK at some point, wasn't he?
And not to, you know, set a standard or a bar here for Rookie or anything, but it did get a pentakill. So,
I mean,
you know, I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I mean,
Rookie, he's been hyping it up so much, and I mean, like you mentioned earlier, right? If you follow Munchables on Twitter, you did see that Rookie's like, yeah, I want to play a little bit of A-Sol on stage. It'll be really cool to play this champion. I really enjoy it. And then it's just only A-Sol in his solo queue match history. Like, yeah, I guess you do want to play it.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, you know? I think that's just the beauty of having some of the best players ever to grace the game in the LPL, to kind of, you know, see exactly how these champions should work. And I fear everyone's solo queue experience is going forward, as this thing is busted. And people might have forgotten it's busted for maybe a patch or so, as it was banned almost exclusively on 13.4, if I remember rightly, in most of my solo queue games.
Teams accepted that this champion was broken and it just needs to be universally banned. It was just like the handshake.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think even, at any level, I think everyone agreed.
Yeah, and you know, like, comically, it felt like even in the spots where it's like, well, the champ's open, it's really broken. Like, teams just didn't pick it still. They were just like, you know what, we'll do you guys a favor and we'll pick something else. But you can see now that level 6 is online, Rookie has to play a lot more reserved. He can't be as, you know, up in the face of Ucal like he was in the early laning phases, though as I say that, he trades back fairly well with Breath of Light there. So not bad. But again, you know, point and click lockdown with Beichuan on the Vi, very difficult to deal with. Level 6 is a very big power point here for ThunderTalk on the top side, and I feel like contesting the Herald a little bit difficult when you don't have priority in either solo lane. And again, those big, easy to use ultimates being available means that not being able to just yield that Herald.
Yeah, Rookie just need to be a little bit careful. The singularity is good for kind of keeping him at arm's length away from Ucal, but now with both junglers finding their way here, this is where the Aurelion Sol does end up having a little bit of a lull in his power as such. His wave clear doesn't really come on until he has got his, you know, second item, and that's when his, you know, Breath of Life is really starting to kind of go crazy on people. Tian pops himself over the wall, but not going to gain anything out of that.
You also have to recall, don't forget that, you know, so a lot of champions with mages right there, breakpoints for wave clear comes through AP, right? And A-Sol, Catalyst tier, these are, you know, laning items to just kind of give you longevity, right? You don't inherently have that little bit of extra oomph in the AP department to clear the waves, though of course A-Sol does still chew through them regardless. But like you say, this is that lull, a little bit of a trough in power, and Ucal will likely, no doubt, take a little bit of advantage in that and see if he can find a little bit of respite, whether a solo kill, maybe even a road to a side lane.
We have another very slow game to kind of come up with. This time around, though, I will say that TT have got a lot more team fight options available to them. They've definitely done well in the laning phase so far, but they aren't falling behind. I will say that Hoya is definitely the one I'm keeping my eyes on right now. I'm going to have a full coal finish at 10 minutes. That's class Dane how well he's been CSing up in this top side while also just kind of keeping QingTian way far back as well. It's going to be about a 25-30 CS lead after all is said and done. So right now it is looking very much like TT are setting themselves up very nicely for a dive, maybe up on that top side, or maybe just dropping the Herald and backing themselves away again. So top esports still doing fine. Nothing, you know, crazy to be worried about at the moment. They are scaling. They have a Zeri, they have an Aurelion Sol, but definitely got to be very careful of how big this Kennen is going to become.
Yep, absolutely. Kennen, I mean, every time I see the champion, I always just have to reiterate the point. It doesn't matter how little work Kennen may do in the early game. All it takes is one ult to break the pace of a game, to break a defense. That's just, frankly, the power. Oh, they're going to stop the charge. They might have the damage. Oh, the eye.
The Vi goes in. They're going to jump straight in on top of Rookie, who's forced to flash away. Beichuan brings himself over. Bring down a star to see if they can maybe get some damage there, but it's only a little bit of damage for now. It's only a little star. Haven't hit Supernova just yet, but they do get the plate they wanted. Haven't got a second one, though, and that's kind of a little bit unfortunate, but with all that pressure in that mid lane and all the ultimates used, we do see that the Dragon should be superseded. I think that QingTian went all in on Hoya. Yeah, we will see it here, and forced out the flash away from the Kennen as the all-out came in.
Yeah, really nice. Finds the angle. That flash out. Great job, but team fight brewing in the Dragon here.
Yeah, but Huanfeng is there. Moonlight Vigil does not land, but then they can jump onto Mark, and Mark's going to get taken down first. Blood goes over to Huanfeng. JackeyLove still peppering little bits of electricity in the night sky as they don't have a smite. I only realized that at the very last second there. I was wondering why it was going out, but it is still secured by TTs to get first blood. They get themselves a dragon. They stop that early dragon take coming out from top esports.
Yeah, a little bit messy on the side. Top esports from the top side and over the fight rather from the mid lane, and also Mark and JackeyLove just doing their best as a duo to try and dissuade that dragon from going down, but ThunderTalk just a little bit too powerful there. Huanfeng picks up the first blood, just going to feel good for him. Pick up the Gale Force. You can kind of see the fight on two fronts, right? Ucal trying to approach, but down here the engage comes through, and the disengage is quite strong. They almost bring down Yao Yao. The Moonlight Vigil just about lights that top side where Rookie Tian, they're stopped from moving forward. Can't come down to assist their bottom lane. JackeyLove does his best to try and cause nuisance, but isn't going to spark steal away that dragon. TT, big win in that fight.
Yeah, big win indeed. And gonna bring themselves a little bit further ahead as they got themselves a 1,000 gold lead. 20 CS is pretty much most of it, I would argue, is in that top side, as almost every other lane is losing at the moment when it comes to the CS differentials. But first items being picked up now. Do like Beichuan rushing towards that Black Cleaver, as we do have Rookie now. He has got the second, yeah, big one. Yeah, he's got the Skies Descend. So if you Falling Star, and the upgraded version is the Skies Descend. Definitely going to be seeing a little bit more of a boom, shall we say, for Rookie, should he find the opportunity. Because again, like, just the radius of it is just nutty. Like, genuinely
it's really
nutty.
Ridiculous, yeah. It is really ridiculous, and he's just going to pick up as much Stardust as he can. And he didn't really do much in the means of, you know, sort of explaining A-Sol. I feel like we don't get enough A-Sol at the moment. It's a bit of a difficult champion to sometimes make work, but it is very powerful, and I feel like everyone's been haunted by it in recent weeks in solo queue. But Stardust basically is just how he powers up, right? He gets it from killing enemies here in the Singularity. Each one killed grants a certain number. I think regular minions are 1, cannons and large monsters are 3, and champions should be 5, off my head. And of course, again, all of the damaging abilities basically just scale off of Stardust. Things like the distance he can travel as well on the W, scale off Stardust. So everything, the more Stardust he acquires, the more powerful the champion gets. It's an infinitely scaling situation, which you don't want to let scale for too long.
Riot needs to stop doing that. I'm going to just call it out there and just say, like, look, lads, infinite scaling is all nice and all. It sounds really cool when you put it out like that, but it really is a problem for the game.
I think it's fine when it's like, oh, I don't know, Veigar, where it's just flat AP, right? He's just getting a bunch of damage. That's fine. I think when you get to a point where you're upgrading champions' abilities to damage everyone on one half of a map, we could be running into some, you know, some
shenanigans, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. So it is, you know, at the end of the day, he is a cosmic star dragon. So I'm not going to take that away from, you know,
look,
our big man.
Lore-wise, yes, he should be one of, if not the most powerful being in all of League of Legends lore. But like, and he gets really annoyed. You know, Zoe is a cosmic being who just uses it to go and have fun. That's why he gets annoyed with her. But I look way too much into this lore. I'm really interested in Legends. Yeah, in Valorant or Valorian, or what is it? Valorian lore?
Yeah, Valorian.
That's what call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely, you know, kind of sets itself up to be canonically correct. You know, the best kind of correct. But in terms of League of Legends gameplay, especially in a competitive game, maybe not the greatest of situations to be leaving yourself in. But we'll come back to that when it becomes relevant. If he does get a massive skies descend and if the apocalypse is happening for TT.
You've read the script. You know what's going to happen in this game.
I know.
Don't pretend. Like,
the LDL's at a trial run. They get to see what it's like, and then we bring it into a pentakill here. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
This is how it works.
So
yeah,
obviously, for those who don't know, and I'll probably get fired for saying this, but who cares? You know, obviously we get handed the script before each game.
Absolutely. So it's a lot. You get for every week you get handed a script alongside the start game.
Yeah. But that one is exclusive. So if ever we're in a game delay, don't flame the color caster unless it's Pedro. Flame Pedro, and that's fine. But all the other times, it's always the play-by-play that has the start game on. And yeah, fortunately we haven't run into any pause issues so far today. I'll touch wood. Just to
I was just about to say, just
to make
don't
sure,
you dare!
Just to make sure that next series isn't crazily delayed. But hey, if it is, then it means that we get to catch up on the live. Mark goes in, as this could be a pretty big point in the game. Now, top esports don't inherently have to fight this. Sol is still scaling up. Roa's halfway to completion, and that Archangel is a way off. I think TT will be far happier to try and take a fight, as Singularity is going to pull in the Herald and stop it from advancing.
Ellie will not get to do her favorite thing, as we do see a Cyclone coming out. Flash burnt there by Yao to make sure he does not get caught. The Solar Flare comes out as we got a little bit of a Cosmo coming out in the mid lane. There's the ultimate coming out. Doesn't really have the impact you want it to, as Tian flashes. So Ucal in the midst of everything, but here we go! Slicing Maelstrom does catch onto a few, but they haven't been able to finish off these kills just yet. Rookie doing so much, but he can't go in on top of that. He knows it's a suicide trip if he ends up going in. It ends up being a 3-for-1 in favor of TT. The health bars went low, but great team fighting there from TT.
Yeah, great team fighting. And once Hoya comes in, that's the end of the fight. Simple as that. One storm will end it all there. Thunder in the name after all. Second dragon will be picked up. Infernal as well. All of the champions in ThunderTalk very happy to get some of the additional scaling damage, as it's a fight in this choke, right? And once TT overstep it, that's where you're really looking to try and turn it around as top esports. But they don't quite get the lockdown that they need. The ultimate from Rookie is actually a little bit wayward, to be honest with you.
He's on the bench.
No, he is on the bench, unfortunately. As Hoya, once he finds the ankle, no, you earn that one. Yeah, the fight's just a little bit too hard to deal with. That is way too much AoE damage. I feel like for top esports, the priority had to be trying to guard the choke, right? As ThunderTalk came in, but they just couldn't quite do it. And hell, I mean, I'll be honest, if they do commit to defending that position, if happens to show up a little bit earlier than he does, that flank may be being even deadlier. And it ended up being at the end of the fight. But either way, ThunderTalk, positive fight for them. Top esports still scaling at the end of the day, though. So losing a fight in this manner, it feels bad. I think the big issue to me is just the gold that they give over, right? Iron breakpoints now starting to come in. Affinity Edge available for Huanfeng. That's really what you're giving to TT there for taking that fight. Top esports, just give them a little more time. Zero common line Bloodthirst are almost there. Top esports, however, just don't want to stop. They want to keep on going. Yeah, no flash.
Well, takes a long time It's not a good time for Yao, and that's the thing though, is that when you're roaming around there, especially around those little tight corners, gotta be so careful about how you end up kind of taking those routes if you don't have full information of where the enemy team is. But 20 minutes on the clock. I was gonna say maybe they're looking at a potential Baron, but no, they're just gonna be able to kind of keep QingTian this bot side, who is now at a point where he's able to go toe-to-toe with this Kennen. Really got to be able to put down some decent pressure as well. So right now, TT, they're kind of in a weird spot. They don't really know exactly where to put their people, you know, in terms of placements. They're not quite sure where everyone needs to be situated because they didn't cover too many angles.
Yeah, exactly. I think for top esports, they're just going to have to continually account for those angles. For TT, they have to try and find them, not get caught out like they have been. I definitely appreciate how aggressive Mark has been finding those potential picks. The issue is that I think it would be nice to find them on not Yao Yao, basically. Anyone else is alright. The game is slow. Feels like we're LCK today.
Yeah, I told you we're doing this in solidarity with our boy Ox. You know.
Yeah, true. Yes.
I mean, we're all you know, UK League aficionados at some point in time.
Most of us.
Yeah.
Were, yeah.
So you know, gotta put in the good time, do good work for our boy who is found off to newer pastures. Hope he has a great time over in the LCK. Hope it's not too boring. But in fairness, I will say, as a play-by-play, I find the LCK a little boring, right? For certain. Sure. But as an analyst or a color caster, definitely the region you want to be in. Like, cause I think I literally saw a segment just before we went live where Ox and Chronicler were talking about how an entire minion wave went away in topside for about 2.5 minutes and no one picked it up. So you know what? Those moments, those games, that region is gonna be where you're gonna be able to find those moments.
Honestly, I'm just jealous of Ox because he gets to sit next to Chronicler and he's really handsome.
He's a very handsome dude. Everyone go onto Twitter and tell @ChroniclerCast, I think it's @ChroniclerCast, that he's handsome. He loves it.
He's gonna be so mad.
He's gonna be so mad. But it's also fish, you know.
True.
He's very stylish. I remember I met him in LA last year before I had received the dire COVID notice that I was participating in Worlds, and just saw him and I was like, man, just a very stylish dude. You know.
I would like to note, interestingly enough, that Rookie has gone towards the right light second and not the okay. Gives him a little more utility in the team fights, right?
Wants the health.
Wants the health, crucially, yeah, sure. But it does just kind of make it that bit more oppressive, right? You know, you're flying over a champion, breathing fire on them, and they're slowed for 30% and they just can't get out of it. Really irritating.
Tian. Here we go. Tian's out right before the Dragon. 20 seconds double TP just to make sure of it. And that's going to mean Soul Point, you would imagine, coming in here for TT. Great. Just flick of a switch and just found themselves an opportunity.
Yeah, Tian just ahead of his team a little bit too far forward. TT punish, capitalize. You can't decoy away from that. Once the armor is placed on you. And ThunderTalk pounce now. How strong? The answer is no. Not even going to pose the question.
I was going to say, how strong do you think you are? Not strong enough.
Yeah, not even going to pose the question. They turn around before I even get to say it. And I think they just realized, like, without Tian there, one, obviously the chances of stealing Dragon very low, but even with a potential flank from Hoya, also limited in, you know, knockups as well. Just to keep him a little bit further away. Now just about defending this Baron area, trying to keep as much vision as you can. As you anticipate, TT will try to come over here and take control of the area, but the issue is they should know they're all in that pixel. That one ward is giving them so much information.
I mean, that is a pretty big mistake for Tian to be making right there. Not only does it give away a kill, which obviously gives you a nice another little bit of gold, but it also gives the Soul double Infernal alongside the mountain. And again, like, yes, an Ocean Dragon is nice, but in terms of single Drakes, I definitely would prefer. One is we do see the Solar Flare coming down to get Yao into that singularity. So I'm thinking about it, but sides against it. They don't have the double TPs available to them. And top esports, they're just trying to make sure they don't get caught out. Need to stay as this 5-man unit now from now on.
Yeah, absolutely they do. Now, I don't know about you, but going back to the script conversation, obviously Rookie is first game here on the A Sol. Falling behind, that was, you know, kind of stage 1 as a team. Flash from Beichuan, flash and flash. You take that from Esports. You want to disengage. You don't really want to stick around here, but True's got flash and ult. Do you really want to toy with that idea? Surely not.
Oh, they're looking for a flank though with Beichuan. He's over the side. He's going to find JackeyLove, who flashes away, tries to flash and dash.
Oh.
There's Hoya with so much damage. The sky may fall and Rookie may put out damage, but it means nothing. Chicken Little has nothing to do with this game. And Top Esports themselves away from the Baron. They tried to hard force it, and TT hard punish.
Yeah, I mean, Hoya just gets so much damage done. Remove JackeyLove from the equation. Thunder trumps lightning.
Rookie. Oh. Maybe yeah, wanted to go for it, but they're not done just yet. Tian has got smite. If they're going to try and jump onto him, yeah, they're going to look for the fight. They're going to try and secure this one here. They actually get onto the decoy. And it's all done its job. Top Esports shall survive the Baron. And that is exactly what they needed to do.
Getting a bit antsy there. Don't forget as well, there is that sort of, I don't think it's a true execute, but like you get added to the Stardust, and sometimes it feels like you get executed, but here's the replay. Beichuan goes super deep, even though there's flash and a little bit of disruption, it doesn't matter because Hoya still makes it to the backline. But one thing I will say is you see how much damage is available to Rookie. He's running out of mana in this particular instance. Baron's being started. Turn.
They're looking for the fight, though, looking for the turn. Hoya can't get in on top of that one there. They're looking for the fight. And they've jumped onto him one more time, and JackeyLove is dead. Just as soon as he comes back, he falls down. Just go down. There's going to be the shuriken flip. And 3 more kills over to TT. Come, just leave the Baron alone.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just so absurd. The decision making going on. Take a reset. Rookie was almost out of mana. Had enough gold for a needlessly larger odds. So it's so bizarre. Tian is likely going to go down here. The Rookie might just about save his life.
Well, there's a
Star will go wide.
And not much else to be done. A turret actually went down on the side lane.
I'm sorry, that looked funny.
And everyone just kind of gets themselves out. But a Baron with a minute and a half until Baron, or sorry, a Baron until a minute and a half until Dragon spawns. That's going to be Sol. And TT are looking to put down even more hurt on Top Esports. Have a look at this, because again, they opt in to try and take out Hoya.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a bit bizarre. Like you can kind of see, even in the HUD, a couple of the elements are just not there. Not available for the side of Top Esports, and these are crucial. Like, imagine you have a massive no Cyclone, no Star. It's a bit of a head scratcher. It is a bit of a head scratcher, and it is one of those moments where analysis can't really help. It's just a bit of a strange one, and ThunderTalk don't care if it's strange, don't care if it's wacky or bad. They'll just take the Baron happily, rub their hands together, and look to strip as much gold off the map as they can.
And I mean, with 30 seconds just over that till this next dragon spawns, you can see that, you know, TT smell blood in the water. They know that it's an opportunity. Double stopwatch is being picked up there by Hoya and Huanfeng. They've got the opportunity now to make this one work, and I mean, with the Baron giving them all the pressure in bot, in mid, they don't even need to worry about top. Hoya will deal with it, but he's got TP. Rookie is going to have to try and dragonflight his way over here because he's not going to be in a position to actually join this fight immediately.
I think the call is being made that they're just going to go over the Sol. Tian's on the top side. And you know what? I don't blame them. I don't think they're ready at all. I don't think they can fight 5 versus 5 right now. You can see the makings of it, you know, come to fruition.
So dumb.
Rookie, sorry, he's just out of tower range doing that.
It's so dumb. Like, it is very allowed.
It is very silly. But honestly, I like this call from Top Esports. This is a little more disciplined than the Baron call, and it makes a lot more sense than the Baron call. You can deal with an Infernal Soul, right? It's not nice. The proc is, you know, going to be meaningful in clumped up team fights, but I think just getting to a point where maybe JackeyLove makes it 3 ions. Rookie's made it to his 3rd now. Even if you're a little bit behind, you know, there's a couple 1,000 eons behind Aurelion Sol. And it could be enough to turn around next Baron fight, next Elder, whatever it may be. And I think it's just going to be a better even footing situation than what we're seeing here, where if they try to take that fight, there'll be 2.5 items still on both JackeyLove and Rookie. still down, dealing with the Baron buff stats as well, don't forget. Too much to deal with. So good discipline from top esports. Now ThunderTalk still looking to strip away what remains of the inner towers of TES.
Yeah, and look, I don't like to call people out, but I do think that we're looking at the woes of top esports. Not end very just yet, like you mentioned, but I think we got to look at some of the, the key players that we expect to carry, and I think JackeyLove 0 and 3, honestly, JackeyLove and Mark 0 and 7 kind of combined. It's just not it. This guy is kind of touted as with Viper leaving. A lot of people were like, great, the stage is set for him to be, reclaiming his title as the best AD carry in the league. It's kind of set in stone. Viper went off to, back to his home region to see if he could maybe make something work there, and we're going to see a full engage now happening right over the solar flare. Has nowhere to go. He's going to have to flash. He do got the lightning cry does fall to get a nice little knockback. But Hoya tries to find something, but he gets knocked immediately. QingTian was massive in that fight. Now Rookie seeing it over something. Huanfeng though! He's looking for more. One goes golden. Maybe one more fight.
Rookie's one
more
shot.
bit of cooldown. 2, 3. Looking for 4. Gonna be able to secure it. Not gonna be the Quadra, but TT's Huanfeng is massive.
Oh, it looked so good for a moment from top esports, but they just try to bite off more than they can chew. Rookie now in a 3 versus 1. Way too long for the rest of his team. Come back up, but the wave will get eaten. There's not really anything they can do about the singularity. So TT won't be able to end the game here. But scaling is almost online for top esports. TT, they have to be more careful about how they approach these team fights, because the AoE is still massive. And if top esports can stop Hoya from finding true backline access, you can see what they're capable of, but they just overreach. For Huanfeng on the back end, the engage initially really good. If that ultimate comes down and locks Rookie in place, it's too much to handle. Look at this, knock up into Cyclone, Yao gets one shot. Hoya disengages good and immediately just finds himself in the middle of too many members. And you understand why top esports are moving forward here, but look at all, that is absurd. Absolutely insane from Huanfeng. Great stopwatch as well to stop potential turnaround. And he just 200 years all over them. There's nothing
I was going to say, Aurelion Sol may have aeons of time behind him, but you cannot beat 200 years of game dev experience. Aphelios ripping through them right now. Has the GA finished up, so got maximum value out of that stopwatch, which obviously was broken now, but with 30 seconds until the Baron spawns, that's going to be the next point of concern. And top lane is the one that's down, so the best situation, I would argue, for top esports to be able to deal with the super minions coming in now, but they got to be able to deal with the vision control now, because you got to look at the Beichuan level, meaning that he's going to have so much just innate value out of his stats. Just having those extra levels is huge for him.
Yeah, good call. Levels a lot more important than they used to be with the per level stat increases from the durability patch last year. Old numbers used to be 600. I think they're somewhere around the 1,000 mark now.
Yeah, I think the official math is like 953.2 or something like that.
Well, we'll see how much it matters.
Tian.
TT, they're on this Baron.
Blind.
I don't think Tian can really get in.
No, he can't. Ucal gonna be able to really flip his way out.
Should just play for Elder. Anyway, I think you understand why you'd always poke your head here, but just play for the Elder. See what you can get done there, because Baron fight, you lose the fight there with Baron buff minions and a bad wave in a spot for TES. ThunderTalk will just end. That'll be really, really good for them. Especially with the Supers pushing in the top side, just slightly closer in the mid lane. You can see Rookie just clearing away everything that he can. Seeing what he can find. He's got one measly large rod. I don't think he's got the gold, however, to make it to the death cap, if I had to wager a guess. But with the stopwatch, that could be crucial. That could be the game-turning ability, right? Stopping a Viol from coming through, stopping Hoya from getting a bunch of damage on top of you. Any one of these things would be crucial for him to reposition. And it feels like Rookie is the main point of damage now for top esports. It's definitely, not like JackeyLove is short on damage, but it just feels like he hasn't really been able to get himself to do it. whereas the range that Rookie is afforded definitely helps him a lot more in these dive-in comp situations.
Yeah, definitely does. Now, what's the Mark picking up the exhaust? I love picking against the Kennen. Always seems like it gives an incredible value against that slicing Maelstrom. But now you got to be able to think about it. Okay, if I use this exhaust super early and Huanfeng is still alive, that's a problem. That's an issue right now. But Elder, as you mentioned, is going to be the big point of contention here. Hoya keeping himself in mid lane, knowing he's got the Baron buff and he's got the flank angle. TT moving themselves back over and just trying to see it with the green and white guns. Plenty of range, plenty of damage available to Huanfeng, and a hell of a shield as well. Top lane's going to be pushing in very slowly. Bot lane's going to be pushing in as so we're going to see multiple fronts here as Beichuan just looking to see if he can get on the backside of this one here. And remember, this is the Elder, but the longer this takes, the longer TES are putting themselves under pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Super's pushing in the top side. TT, you can see they know the good position they're in. They can just play this one out slowly. Goes to cross up in the top side by QingTian.
Beichuan goes forward, doesn't land his Q. They're on opposite sides. Mark did not want that hook. Mark did not want that hook, and that is a TP from Hoya on the back end of this to see if he can maybe catch them out on the ramp. They're burning them towards it. They're looking for them, and JackeyLove is dead. The sky falls, but nobody else shall die. And TT found themselves a perfect move to make sure they caught everyone from top esports unaware. They get themselves 3 kills. QingTian is going to be able to run away. Never mind, he dies on the offside of the screen. But now it's Rookie against the world, 2-0-3. And Nexus turret already went down, and you can see now they don't need the Elder. They can just end the game.
Yep, they can. 5 versus 1. It was like the story of the game, to be honest with you, Rookie. Only one left standing. Can do his best to try and clear away some of these waves. The Baron falls off, so Minion's a little bit easier to kill. He might find Hoya. He may not. Just going to die. Top Esports, they'll continue their series loss streak. And TT will gain parity with them in the standings at 8 wins now. And put themselves in a serious race for the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, this is massive of a scheme of the LPL right now. You're bringing in top esports to the likes of OMG, BLG, and TT have kind of they're not quite there yet. We still have that extra loss, but they are very much in with a shot of maybe getting top 6, maybe even top 4, like you mentioned. Huge